Warriors fans, remember Sacramento's exact public position weeks ago. Zero plans for a Levine buyout or trade, according to Mark Stein. That was the story. And at 1:17 this afternoon, Shams Charania told the basketball world that position quietly reversed. Zach LaVine has been traded from the Sacramento Kings to the Golden State Warriors. Before you scroll off, I'm telling you right now, by the end of this video, I'll tell you the specific financial reasoning Shams gave for why Golden State specifically won this, and what Draymond Green posted minutes later that's already trending. Here's how it went down. Molly Karam is running First Take now when the control room interrupts. Shams delivers. Golden State's front office had been quietly modeling this exact scenario for weeks. Understanding Sacramento's zero-plan stance reflected their preference at that moment, not a permanent position once real value appeared. Once Mike Dunleavy Jr. offered expiring salary and draft compensation, Sacramento moved. This deal uses cap mechanics that respect Golden State's apron restrictions. Read that back. Real, technical capology, not speculation. And minutes later, Draymond Green posted, "A real bucket getter off the bench who can get hot fast." That's exactly what closes tight games. Real value, real fit. That's Draymond distinguishing this from empty star power. Now the whiplash. Sacramento said zero plans. Why the reversal? Because zero plans described their stance at that specific moment, not a permanent commitment. And LaVine himself had already turned down a Kings-facilitated sign and trade back in June, which is part of why this took until now to resolve as an actual trade rather than a quiet exit months ago. 3 reasons Shams was confident. Reason 1. Golden State's bench has repeatedly gone cold in exactly the stretches when Curry sits, with no reliable independent scorer to bridge those minutes. LaVine, even coming off hand surgery, remains a career 20-point scorer with real explosiveness. Reason 2. Kerr's system rewards players who can both move within read and react actions and create individually when a possession breaks down. Exactly LaVine's dual threat profile. Talk to me in the comments. Does LaVine's recent injury history worry you enough to overshadow the talent on a value-based trade? Go. Reason 3. The specific mechanism, expiring salary and draft compensation, not a complex multi-piece trade, confirms this genuinely respects Golden State's hard cap situation rather than requiring some creative workaround. Now the skeptic, Stephen A. Smith. 39 games last year before hand surgery, Sacramento said zero plans. Why is Golden State adding more uncertainty to an aging core? Legitimate concern. But here's the counter. This is a value-based trade, not a max commitment. If it works, real bench scoring. If not, minimal long-term cost given the structure. Here's the human weight. LaVine has never advanced past the first round in his career. A genuinely stable, championship-tested organization represents his clearest remaining path to relevance. But the honest risk, recent hand surgery, and inconsistent availability remain real, documented concerns that a trade doesn't erase. Let's actually walk through the full timeline here, because the specific sequence matters. LaVine exercised his $49 million player option in late June, despite Sacramento's cold, direct messaging beforehand. Kings insider James Ham specifically reported the exact language used. All bets are off if you opt in. A clear signal there was no promised role or future commitment attached to that decision. LaVine picked it up anyway, guaranteeing himself the money regardless of what came next. Then, weeks later, multiple outlets reported that LaVine had actually turned down a Sacramento-facilitated sign and trade opportunity earlier in the process, choosing to simply exercise his option instead. That specific sequence, cold organizational messaging, a rejected sign and trade, and then a firm public zero plans stance from the front office, and is exactly the backdrop this trade emerged from. Let's talk about the actual numbers here for a second, because they deserve real attention. LaVine averaged 19.2 points, 2.8 rebounds, and 2.3 assists across just 39 games last season before season-ending hand surgery, his lowest scoring average since 2017 at 18. That specific decline, combined with the injury, is exactly why Sacramento's public stance cooled towards simply keeping him rather than actively marketing him around the league. Let's also talk about LaVine's own career arc for a moment, because it genuinely deepens why this specific opportunity matters personally. A former slam dunk contest champion, a 2-time All-Star, a legitimate 20-plus point scorer for most of his career. And yet, across more than a decade in this league, he has never advanced past the first round of the playoffs. That gap between individual talent and team success is exactly why a real shot at genuine contention mattered enough to make this move worthwhile for both sides. Let's talk about what actually derailed Sacramento's original zero plan stance. Once real draft compensation became available, rather than simply absorbing Levine's expiring salary through a rebuilding season around rookie Darius Acuff, the calculus changed. This isn't Sacramento contradicting itself, it's Sacramento recognizing better value emerged. Let's talk about role clarity. This isn't Levine competing with Curry for primary ball handling. It's a genuine second unit scoring weapon, deployed specifically to close quarters when Curry rests, protecting his workload across a long season. Kerr's motion-heavy system, built around constant relocation and off-ball movement, is specifically suited to maximize exactly Levine's blend of catch-and-shoot ability and close-out attacking instincts, rather than forcing him back into the high-usage isolation-heavy role that defined his years in Chicago. Let's also spend real time on the specific hand injury itself, because it deserves more than a passing mention. Levine underwent season-ending surgery on his right hand in February, an injury significant enough to end what was already a shortened, disappointing season. Hand injuries specifically can affect shooting mechanics and ball handling in ways that take real time to fully resolve, which is exactly why any acquiring team has to weigh recent recovery data carefully rather than assuming a clean bill of health automatically restores peak form. Let's also talk about the broader Western Conference picture here, because context matters. Every genuine contender in this conference has spent real resources hunting for exactly this kind of proven, if inconsistent, scoring depth, understanding that playoff series are frequently decided by which bench produces an unexpected outburst in a specific game. Levine, even diminished from his peak years in Chicago, represents exactly the kind of recognizable, high-ceiling scoring talent that's genuinely difficult to find on the trade market at this point in a season. Let's also talk about what genuine organizational culture means for a trade like this, because it's underrated in most breakdowns of a move this significant. Golden State, more than almost any other roster in this league, has built an actual infrastructure. Medical staff, load management philosophy, veteran locker room leadership, specifically designed around extending the effective careers and maximizing the health outcomes of talented players carrying real physical mileage. If any organization is equipped to actually get a fully healthy version of Levine back onto the floor, it's this one. Let's also spend real time on Curry's own specific admiration for exactly this kind of movement shooter, because it deserves attention. Curry has, across multiple media appearances over the years, specifically praised guards who thrive within a motion offense rather than requiring isolation sets, and Levine's game at its best fits precisely that mold. Real touch, real ability to catch fire off a series of relocations rather than standing still waiting for a single design play, so let me bring it home. Zach Levine to the Warriors matters because he fills a real, persistent bench scoring gap, because his skill set complements rather than duplicates Curry's game, and because Shams' specific account of Golden State's quiet, sustained modeling confirms genuine sourcing. Draymond's own reaction is the receipt. Now here's what I'm watching next. Hit subscribe. If Levine lands in the Bay, the next question is exactly what Golden State attached to make this work, and how quickly the hand recovery actually holds up. I've got a read on it that will surprise you. For now, comments, likes, subscribe. Dub Nation. Zero plans lasted exactly as long as it took for the right offer. Wild Autumn.